I don't know how else to tell you this, but you've been lied to. Whether you've picked this up in your game over time or a coach has taught you this, these are the biggest misconceptions in pickleball. All right, so number one, how to move up at the kitchen line. Why is this important? Because we need to learn how to get to the ball efficiently. A lot of players are taught, or they just naturally move the outside leg first. If they need to move to the left, they're gonna move their left leg first and then hit the ball. If they move to their right, they're just going to move their outside right leg to hit the ball. Now, this is one of the ways to move up here at the kitchen line, but it isn't the most efficient way when we talk about trying to get yourself in the best position to hit the ball. If I receive a dink out wide and it's really pulling me out, then my contact point is going to be way outside my hips and I'm going to be in a defensive position when I hit the ball. So how should we move? Well, we should be moving with the shuffle step. In this movement, you're going to be moving your inside leg first and you're going to be shooting your outside leg directly after that. With this movement, you can get further and you can get that contact point closer to you and more in front of your hips so that you can actually attack more balls and be in a better position to hit aggressive shots. Moving your feet efficiently to get to the ball is only one of the ways that you can up your attacking game. If you'd like a totally free, complete masterclass on how to attack your opponents, make sure you check out the link in the description below or go to attackmasterclass.com. Now let's hop into misconception number two. Let's talk about the ready position. This is really important, obviously, because as you play better players and higher level players, you need to be ready for every single ball. So most players, whether you've been taught this or you've just picked this up, I call this a paddle out position. Their paddle is up, but it's really far out, and you'll see that their elbow is fully extended. So the problem with this is when balls are coming in really fast and you need to be able to counter, you're gonna have to pull your paddle way back and then push it forward again. And this actually makes it harder and takes more time for you to counter their attacks. The second ready position that I see a ton in amateur level play is the elbow up kind of ready position. So, you know, sometimes maybe you're taught like this and you're protecting your body, you're doing a good job with this, but this opens up or it makes your chicken wing very vulnerable because you don't have more of a neutral position. You're here and you're going to be volleying balls towards your right hip or outside your right hip like this, and they're going to be very, very weak counters. So what do the pros do? What do really good players do? They have a very neutral ready position. So when I say neutral, it's generally not super high and not super low. There are exceptions, obviously, but most pro players are within 6 to 12 inches from their waist or from their navel, and they're just right out here. You can see I'm a little bit towards my backhand side, so I can access this backhand counter when I need it, but they're in this neutral position so that they can also get to their forehand and access that really quickly. The benefit of it being not too far in front is from this position, I can get to a reset position really quickly if I need to, or I can actually push out on my counters. From here, I can push out there, and from here, I can get to my forehand really quickly. So this is what we call the neutral position, and this is the most effective position when you're up here at the non-volley zone line. Number three, how the heck are we supposed to slow the ball down? I see players trying to reset the ball, absorb the pace, and what happens? Well, they end up moving their paddle a ton and that ball actually pops up. So these are the main two things that I see. Number one is players actually think that they need to absorb the pace, so they actually bring their paddle in while that ball is coming, and that makes it really, really hard to track the ball and hit the center of the paddle. Number two is because they're trying to finesse the ball over, I see them actually trying to slice it, and they have a lot of movement in the paddle, which they think that they're actually getting that ball down or they're helping get the ball down, but actually it's doing them a disservice and that ball is popping up. So what should we do instead? How do we actually slow the ball down? Well, the number one thing that I tell players is we need to not add pace to the ball. So when that ball is coming in, I need to be stable with my base, which is my legs, and I also need to be stable with my paddle. So obviously, yes, I do need to move my paddle to the spot where I'm hitting it in the sweet spot, but from there, I'm going to be having a very still and stable paddle face. Now, depending on how far you are back from the non-volley zone, you might have to give it some, but make sure that when you're resetting the ball, you're always lifting in an upwards motion and not pushing out, because the whole idea of a good reset and slowing the ball down is to get that ball to land in front of your opponents at the non-volley zone line. All right, misconception number 4. This is probably one of the biggest ones of the bunch, and this is trying to slow the ball down against bangers. This is absolutely the opposite of what you want to do, because when you try to slow the ball down and you're trying to take pace off the ball when they are hitting the ball hard at you, driving at you, that just invites them to continue to hit the ball and keep attacking you. Also, when most players try to slow the ball down and they're up at the non-volley zone, they actually don't do a good job. So that volley actually pops up in a perfect position for your opponents to keep driving at you and attacking you. What should we do instead? Well, we have to do the exact opposite. Maybe some players have told you that, oh, we need to slow down the ball against bangers, but what we need to do is be really aggressive and work on our counter attacks. As they are driving balls at me, it's very important that I'm pushing and punching the ball back really deep at the baseline if they're there, or really fast and hard at their feet. If I can get my counters really close to their feet, it's going to be really hard for them to keep attacking me. All right, last but not least, maybe you do this or you see people do this. I call this cement feet, or never moving your feet off the line. Obviously, there is a sense of taking balls out of the air, taking time away. Yes, we understand that, we have to do that. But when these balls are coming really close to your feet and you cannot volley them, you have to move your feet out of the way to create space. What are some ways that we can do this? We can just use a step back or drop step back, or we can shuffle step, use an angled shuffle step off the line so that we can actually put ourselves in a position where we're contacting the ball out in front and we're in a strong position to hit strong shots. Pro players do this all the time, whether you are in a dink rally and you have to shuffle off the line to get an ideal contact for yourself, or you're receiving maybe a third shot drop and that's kind of pushing you off the line and that ball is landing near your feet. That is when players will give themselves a lot of space so that they can actually be in a more advantageous position, even though that they are off the line. You do not need to think that when you're coming off the line, you're actually on the defense. You can actually put yourself on the offense by coming off the line, because that you're creating space and that you're putting yourself in a good position to attack the ball. All right, so there you have it. These are the biggest misconceptions in this game. Comment below on which ones that you do or that were eye-opening to you. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure you subscribe, like this video, and check out that free masterclass in the description below. See you next time.